Hey guys, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 7 of Couch in the Mind, clearing the mind one couch talk at a time. On today's episode, I've got Jaxton Tippet, 26-year-old fitness coach and model from Gold Coast, Australia, and also creator of the I Me podcast, plus brand building enthusiast. Join me in conversation revolving around the topic of external and internal strength. How's it going, man?
Hey, brother. Great to be on here, and I appreciate you having me on. I'm going really well, and yeah, I suppose just doing the best I can, even though the world's still in this crazy time. But I feel like it's starting to shift. What's your thoughts on it all?
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I think we're slowly adjusting to what the world is now. I think when COVID first hit last year, it was a big eye opener because I remember just watching the news and kind of just laughing to myself, going, "Fuck, surely the media is just exacerbating this new virus that we now know about." And then it only took a couple months until it really started to burst into the world that we live in. So I think now that it's been around for a couple of years, we're starting to work out how to live with it.
Absolutely, man. I think it's all going to come down to if you get the jab or not. To be honest,
Yeah, man.
that's what they're trying to push, man. And even me myself, like I'm not like anti for it, but I'm not sorry, I'm not for it, but I'm not like
Mm,
against it. But if it means that we like if we get it, it means we can do everything in our life. Like
mm.
fuck, I'm just gonna get it. You know what I mean? And I think that's what everyone's kind of doing.
I think we got to get to a point, man, because we can be very stubborn on certain things and very fixated on the fact that fuck that, I'm not going to do it. But eventually, over time, they're going to start to implement certain vaccination passes to be able to travel overseas or go to stadiums to watch the footy, all that sort of stuff. So rather than kind of putting up walls, I think we've just got to go with the time and actually make the effort of getting the vaccine when we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for yourself, brother, with fitness and what you do as a whole, where did the interest in fitness come from?
Oh man, I've always just had a passion for it. I've always been like into sport when I was young. I think it came probably, to be honest, from my parents. They were the way they raised me was like very health, very sport orientated, like get out, go do stuff, be active. We did not eat junk food, no soft drink. Like I know you hear this, but like I'm actually being serious. And they just made me eat always made me eat like the foods that I didn't enjoy, like which was like your veggies, your Brussels sprouts, all of that type of stuff. And man, now it comes to like realization now, like in this day and age, that these are like my favorite foods. And like
Mm,
I'm seriously not picky with any food. And I love being out, I love being active. So I really feel the way you're brought up and the way you
mm,
bring your kids up, nine times out of 10, it's probably the person you're going to become.
mm. Isn't it funny though, man? Like when we were younger, we always had. I mean, obviously, for your instance, your family was very health oriented, but I feel like as if you probably had a different side to you where you had an interest in sweets and hot dogs and all that sort of stuff. But as we grow older, and if we do have a passion in fitness and trying to be the best version of ourselves, physically and mentally, we actually come to the realization that fuck, broccoli isn't really that bad.
Bro, it's like it's not even just the food aspect. It's so many things, man. Like I was chatting to someone on my podcast the other day, all through like from pretty much 18 to 2 years ago,
Mm,
I was just trying to get big, 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 trying to
mm.
get as big as I could, trying to just be a monster. And now I'm doing the opposite, man. It's like I just want to lose size. Like I just want to be fit. I just want to look
True.
healthy. And I don't know, man. It's just like crazy how you shift as you mature in age. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. And brother, I'm curious to ask as well because you are a fairly big bloke, mate. You're an absolute rock. You're with size, man. I'm curious to know, like, if you look from the perspective of someone like yourself, would you be happy with yourself if you weren't the size that you were at?
Now, as I just said, I'm trying to actually lose size. So, yeah, like I'd be happier if I was leaner and smaller, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Because it was only I think it was probably 3 years ago. You're 26 now, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
26. It was 3 years ago. You were caught with steroids. It was more than you were caught with 250 steroid tablets, and I'm curious to know because I've never really been fascinated by the idea of steroids, but for someone who's taken it, what was your purpose behind it?
I think it was just like to fit into the crowd, to be honest.
Yeah,
um, it's yeah, it sounds weird, but it's kind of true. It was like all my mates were doing it. It was just kind of a thing, and I just fell into it. And then I've become obsessed with it because obviously it enhances your physique and your performance.
absolutely.
That's what it literally is. So that's like anything. It becomes addicting because you look better, you perform at a better rate, you recover better, you just feel like an alpha. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
yeah, it just become addicting, man. And then one thing led to another, and I couldn't actually get off it because of how like good it kind of made me feel. And then
Fuck.
yeah, it really is like a domino effect, and this is like any drug, not just steroids,
Mm.
street drugs. It's the same, man. I've had a lot of friends that have gone down the road of like ice or even heroin, man, and
Mm.
it makes you feel like you're invincible. So that's why they do it. But yeah, it feels good for like that first little bit, but then it comes with a crash, and then it's like you need your fix, but really you don't feel good off it anymore, if that makes sense, because
Yeah.
your body's adjusted to it. And it's kind of the same with drinking, cigarettes, anything. So like my best word of advice is just probably not go down any of those roads to start with. But that's obviously hard. But if I
Mm.
could go back in time, that's what I would tell my younger self.
Yeah, because I've got a couple of mates that have tried steroids before, and they've always said the same thing, man. They've always said that once they were on it, they felt like they were on the top of the world. They're on cloud nine, but over time, when they try to wean it off, it was the fucking hardest thing to do. Much like any other drug, it's a very hard process, and I think people have to forget the fact that even though you do build your size and you become much bigger than what you already were. There are so many other drastic effects that are caused from doing something like that that a lot of people don't particularly know about unless you've actually gone through the process yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I've still got a lot of friends and stuff that are still using it, and each their own. But I just think it's majority of people would be better off without it.
And with supplements as a whole, brother, when I go to a supplement store, say for example, like looking at pre-workout, there are so many different fucking pre-workouts, and there's so many different other bits and pieces that you can get to take before going in for a gym session or whatever it may be. What do you define a good or a shit supplement to be?
So majority of them are bullshit, man. Like they're bunk. You don't need them. To be honest, pretty much every supplement you can get in some form of way through your food and your
Mm,
nutrition. And that's if you think about it, the word supplement is just supplementing your food.
mm,
So, like for example, a pre-workout, you could get that through your food, like the exact same thing, but better, without the
mm,
artificial sweeteners, without the fillers, without the added crap. So basically, what it is you've got your caffeine in there to start. So that's your base of your pre-workouts usually.
mm.
So that's as simple as a coffee. You know what I mean? A
Yeah.
straight coffee. And then you've got like your pump enhancers, which is like nitric oxide. So that's as simple as, not as simple, but that's what you'd have, and you'd eat something like beetroot, which is like if you honestly ate beetroot, you'd have just the same effect, if not more. So you'd pair your coffee with your beetroot, and then you just kind of cover every ingredient in it to an
Mm,
extent. The only thing that really you can't get, like we still can, but creatine is like it's an essential. It actually does work. It's backed up with science. So for everyone out there like wanting to gain a little bit of muscle or strength and just feel a bit bigger and fuller, like creatine it's an absolute must. It's cheap, it's effective, it lasts ages. Stuff like whey protein, you don't even need it, man. Like I'd rather just eat my food. It just comes down to, all supplements just come down to convenience. So the reason people use protein powder is they they might be traveling, they can't cook. It's time effective, like they can just throw it in a shake. They don't have to cook it. They don't have to eat it.
yeah,
Um,
so fair.
that's kind of the reason behind it. But if you can, for example, the main times you'd have a protein shake is probably first thing in the morning or after a workout.
Mm,
you'd be so much better off after your workout, literally just going home and, having like a chicken breast with some rice or, having some oatmeal with some eggs or something rather than a protein shake and like a Gatorade.
Yeah. For yourself, did you hit a point where you were kind of like, fuck, I'm sick of taking the supplements. I'm actually gonna set some time aside to prepare a couple extra meals a day to be able to get that same effect as I would if I was having pre-workout.
Yeah, not even that, man. Like me personally, not this is not for everyone, but I would rather eat. Like I
Mm.
actually enjoy eating food, so
Oh, fucking
I would
oath.
rather eat than have liquid any day of the week, especially if you are trying to get lean and you get a bit more hungry the leaner you get.
Mm.
Yeah, man, like I would way rather have my protein in a form of I can eat it than it's gonna be down my throat in 10 seconds through liquid.
At least with having a good feed too, you feel like you've had something substantial and you kind of feel full as opposed to, chucking a smoothie on and getting it down the throat and you feel like you've really not had much at all.
And that's the thing, man. That's why it's like 100% you're going to be better off eating whole foods than liquid any day. And that's why all these liquid diets out there, yeah, they can make you lose weight. The reason
Mm.
you're losing weight is because you're cutting out like, if you put 5 meals in your body in a day
Yeah,
as opposed to five liquid, clearly you're going to lose weight because it's just the volume of the food.
hundred
So
percent.
it's just a gimmick, man. It doesn't mean you've lost fat. It just means you've cut out something that actually weighs more.
Mm.
So, like
Yeah,
people that fall for these things, you're so much better off eating whole food. I'd recommend nothing crazy, but nothing. I just think the 4 meals a day is awesome. You don't need to do this 6 to 7 meals, in my opinion, and just kind of cover every macronutrient. I would never cut anything out. Like I would never cut fat out, never cut
yeah.
carbohydrates. You can lower it, but there's no need to actually cut it because there's a reason the body uses every type of nutrient and micronutrient and macro
Mm.
in some form of way.
Well, I think one of the hardest things, man, is that there are so many plans and platforms out there where they're selling all these diet plans and what you should and shouldn't be eating that people don't know where to start. It's a bit of a scary thing to do, especially if you don't know a lot about health and nutrition.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It is a very broad topic, and a lot of people do get confused about it. But if you break it, unless you're like an elite competitor or athlete, or you're wanting to get to stage condition,
Hmm.
it's really not that hard. It's really simple.
Yeah, I think it's probably just starting off real simplistic, and then obviously if you want to change it up, then it might be worthwhile. Would you say it'd probably be worthwhile seeing a nutritionist more so than buying into those plans online?
Yeah, 100%, man. Any day of the week. Yeah.
And for yourself, brother, because I feel like this is another massive issue with health and fitness. I don't know about you, but I feel like we focus too much on trying to look like someone else. So we train really hard and then we look at ourselves and we go, fuck, why am I not getting as big as such and such is getting? And I think the biggest thing is we struggle just to focus on our own journey and our own self growth.
Oh, definitely, man. I was definitely a victim of that in my early days. That's
Mm,
what kind of led me to the steroid use. Is I would look up to so many people that had these tremendous physiques, but what I didn't realize is majority of them were enhanced or
mm,
they were genetic freaks or they'd been training 10 years longer than me.
yeah,
And then I would be like, I'd put myself down because I wasn't on their level when really their level is not realistic. And everyone's their own unique individual anyway. So even if you want to look like this guy, you're never going to look like him. So why you may as well not get your hopes up before. Do you know what I mean? Like all you're going to do
absolutely.
is get put down because physically you're never going to look like me and I'm never going to look like you. So if you look up to me, that's great, but you still got to have your own goals and not base it on my outlook and my look.
Well, but how do you think for people that might be tuning into this episode, how do you think you start that process? Because it is a bit of a difficult thing just to be happy with your own progress rather than just looking at how everyone else is going.
It's very hard, man. I'm not going to lie. It's something that I've probably only just, yeah, literally of the last 5 months, I've just been happy within my own body. I think we're our own worst critics. And yeah, like we always just, I don't know about you, I don't know about everyone else, but I always just want to excel in every single way,
Mm.
whether that's, health, how I look, my work. So I'm always just trying to be better. So it's like, yeah, you're never happy, you know what I mean? And I know that sounds weird, but it's like, it's true. It's like you get to your goal, like, oh, I just saw abs or whatever it may be.
Mm.
And then it's like, okay, like, fuck, I'm not happy. Like, now I need to go to another level. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Because I look back at photos when I did look my absolute best. And man, I looked insane. And I swear to God, at that day and time, when I looked that, now that I look back, I literally thought I was just looking like shit. Like I thought I was like holding a lot of fat and like I was like self conscious. And I look back at photos and I was like, wow, like I literally looked the part.
Because we always find imperfections, and there's always going to be imperfections. And no matter how hard we try to critique them, we'll find something else to work on, and we continue that process. And it's just a never-ending cycle of never being able to get that. There's always going to be imperfections, man.
Oh, 100%, man. But your imperfections make you perfect.
Oh, exactly.
And that's what people need to understand is like I look at things that I'm like, oh, like I don't like that. But then other people actually come to me and they're like, I love that about you. And it's like, you just, I think you can't please everyone and you just got to kind of like embrace what you have and
Yeah.
love yourself.
Exactly what you said, Jackson. Like the imperfections make us who we are. It makes us unique. It makes us the person that we are. And if we just got to take a step back and just be happy for the person that we are. And obviously, you got to set goals over time and try to achieve those goals. But once we get to that goal, we want to like this is one of the things I struggle with, setting an unobtainable goal. Say for example, putting weight on and then going, fuck, now I need to put another 4 or 5 kilos on. And then it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. I feel like we've just got to hit a point where we go, no, I'm happy with where I am. If I can try and improve my strength, this and that, that'd be great. Little small minuscule goals here and there. But I think we need to hit a point in our life, at some stage, whatever we do, whether it be career wise, fitness wise, anything, where we just have to be happy for what we've been able to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I think people are too hard on themselves. I definitely am. But at the same time, you just have to give yourself a bit of credit. And yeah, I just don't think you should be too hard on yourself.
And for yourself, man, like because obviously you have, with your website with jaxontippet.com, you also have a lot to do with building brands and building a business. For people that might want to go that avenue and try to take that plunge in starting up their own clothing brand or makeup brand, whatever it is, how important do you think failure is in being able to succeed long term?
Man, massive. I talk about this so much. It's number one, and people that fear failure, they're never going to get ahead because everyone will fail no matter what.
Yeah.
Everyone. If you're the best in the world, you're going to fail. So if you fear failure, once you fail, you're going to give up and not try again. But I guarantee you're going to have failure in your life. So you're never going to succeed. So you have to embrace the failure. And what that does is it makes you drive more to come back stronger and push more. And it might happen 20, 100 times before you succeed. But
Mm.
I guarantee you, if you chip away at it and don't give in, you will succeed.
And without the failure, man, how do we actually grow and look at things in different perspectives? Because we might go into something and look at it just streamline and think that's the way that it's going to fucking go, and I'm going to succeed. I'm going to get to this point and everything's going to go perfectly. But without failure, we don't get all those different perspectives and opinions on how we could do things differently.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I was also going through your social media page, and it was interesting because I was looking about, surrounding yourselves around the right people, whether it be, your loved ones, a close knit group of mates, or anyone in general, people that you work with. There's something that you posted on your page that really stuck well in the back of my mind, which is a quote that said, "My circle is small, but the people in it mean everything to me." What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I just realized that your circle doesn't have to be big to have a fulfilling life,
Mm,
and probably the bigger it is, the faker it is. I know everyone says this, and you hear it a lot, but it's actually so true. It's just like you're never going to please everyone, and if you do have a so-called 1,000 friends or whatever it
mm,
is, I guarantee you more than half of them are not true friends. And
mm.
when I mean true friends, I mean like they've got you back. Like they literally would take a bullet for you. They never badmouth you. They've got like just all of those things. Like there's friends that yeah you could call them a friend, but I don't know if you called them up one day and said, you know, bro, I'm stuck. Like I need you to transfer $1,000. Would they do that? No way. But
Yeah.
would those real ones do that? They would, because they know that someday or sometime you would return the favor or you would do that back to them. And that's just an example. But like, yeah, I just really like the word is probably like I really am like conscious with who I give my time and energy to now,
Mm.
because if they ain't returning it and they ain't supporting me or whatever it may be, like they just don't have a place in my life.
Well, that's the thing, brother. You want to surround yourselves around people that you can be in your most comfortable state and talk about anything without being concerned by the way they may react to what you're about to say to them. You know, it could be a matter of, hey, I fucked up. I made a mistake on the weekend, or I'm actually feeling really flat and depressed. And they're happy just to sit there and listen to you for half an hour and not say a word and just allow you to get whatever is in your system off your chest. They're the true people. They're the sort of people, as you said before, Jackson, that if you were fucked and you needed someone in a certain situation, they would be the first person to put their hands up and be there within a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to look around and, you know, if you're listening to this now and you're unsure, you know, maybe if your friends are like true friends, maybe just ask yourself that question, or maybe go have a look when that last person actually reached out to you and checked in on you that you thought was a so-called friend. And
Hmm.
if it's been, you know, fucking 6 months, I highly doubt they're a friend.
Because I know a lot of people that get caught up in this trap of being the person to instigate meetups. You know, let's catch up, all this stuff, and then there's never reciprocation. Or you see people and you only see them out drinking on nights, and that's the only purpose you see them in terms of that sort of friendship. And I don't fucking see it as a friendship. It's like just, you know, you're just seeing someone that you haven't seen for a while. You're just acknowledging them and you're fucking off. But there's so many instances where if there's no reciprocation from them, why would you put all your eggs in one basket and make the effort all the time to start stuff or to catch up with them or to see how they're going if it's not being returned in their favor?
And yeah, that's something like I'm a past victim of this. I used to give my energy and my positivity to fucking everyone on Instagram, man. Like I used to give, like, just for example, I used to give people shout outs. I used to show so much love on all their posts. And then I was like, fuck, most of these people aren't like returning the favor or like, you know what I
Mm,
mean? And I was just like, what's the point? Like, I'm just wasting my positive energy and they're just like leeching off it and then they're not giving anything back. So it's not helping me. So I was like, I'll just literally, you know, support the ones that support me and then the rest can fuck off. If they do start supporting me, I'm more than happy to support them. But
mm,
if they don't, then it's wasted energy, it's wasted time.
for sure. No, you're exactly right, man. Like, you know, time is of the essence and we only live once, and, you know, hours go by and you don't want to be wasting it on people that just, you know, are full of toxicity. But you're absolutely right, man. You know, you actually create a decent environment and community being able to be as vulnerable as you are. And it's not an easy thing to be able to get to that state of vulnerability. You know, when did you hit that point of realization where you're kind of like, you know what, I don't really give a fuck what people think of me, and I'm just going to live the best life possible. You know, obviously being, you know, obviously without making offense to anyone. How did you get to that point?
Um, it was probably associating with the right people, and they made me.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like the point of like I had a podcast with my mate Ryan Vincent. He's very real, and he just talks the truth. And I just asked him, like, how do you not care what anyone thinks? Because it's a very hard thing to do. Because everyone cares. Like, they're like, oh, like, do you know what I mean? Like, how do you not care? Like,
Yeah.
someone's opinion, or what if someone leaves a negative comment on your page? And it's like, you just, at the end of the day, like, if they're doing that, they're probably not happy within themselves. Like, you just not got to not give a fuck, because it's not going to make your day any better if you do care. So, and that person probably doesn't, you might never talk to them again. And it's like, there's a million people on this earth. If someone says, oh, like, Jackson's a fucking bikie because he's got tattoos. Am I a bikie? No, I'm not. So why should I let that affect me?
Yeah.
Because if I take that in, which I used to, I'd be like, fuck, this guy just said I'm a bikie. Like, now other people are going to think I'm that. And you'd kind of react. But it's just a spiral effect. You would have been better off just literally, you just ignore it, man. Or if anything, you just, like, if someone gives you a negative comment or a message, you actually, and this is what Ryan said, he said, reply with a positive response and then leave it at that.
Well, it's the classic example of feeding the birds chips, man. Like, if you keep reacting the way they want you to react, then fuck, they'll keep biting and they'll keep asking for more.
Yeah. And if someone has a dig at you, if you leave a positive response, that's the complete opposite of what they want.
Yeah.
And what are they going to come back with? They come back with something, but then you just don't reply and you just leave it at that. So at the end of the day, you're in a win-win situation. First of all, you haven't done anything wrong. And second of all, you've left them with something to say that, oh, I'm so positive and, like, in a great space that nothing that you say will bring me down.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just there's yeah, no, it's a win-win, man. Like, it can't go possibly wrong. You're bettering yourself as well, and your self-control for not reacting out in a bad way, whether it be over text or in person, verbally, whatever it may be. Plus, at the same time, you're leaving a positive comment to some dickhead who's trying to put you down. So you can't lose out of that sort of situation.
And that's something I do now, man. Like, I still get the odd hater.
Yeah.
To be honest, they're fucking no ones. Like, it doesn't worry me. But
Yeah.
I just leave them with a little bit of positivity. Or, like, if someone leaves a comment on my post or something, it might be having a dig. I literally just leave a little response with a praying hand, and that's it.
Hope God can help this guy out. And I'm sure, like, it probably wasn't long after you came into this state where you just don't really give a fuck about what others think of you, that you then start up your own podcast series. Did you want to kind of delve into that a little bit?
I wanted people to hear more the real me, because obviously my look and my page, majority of people don't actually know me for who I am, and they just judge a book by its cover. So, for example, you probably know more about me now just having a little bit of a yarn. Like,
Sure.
I'm actually a fucking, I'm a proper decent guy. I do have morals. Like, I do care for people, but just because of my image, people perceive me as something different. And I don't know. I just felt like I started up the podcast. I didn't think it was going to go that well. And then the more I got into it, and the more, like, we started to get, like, big guests on and really motivating, inspiring stories and that, I was getting so much response and people were, like, getting so much benefit out of it. And I'm just like, it was the best feeling, man, to know that someone had listened to my podcast, become an addiction, man, like the drugs. And I thrive off that positive response or it helping someone.
How good is it though? Like, you might get, obviously you would get a fairly decent amount of views for your videos, but even if you were to get 2 or 3, and within that 2 or 3, you could have somewhat of a positive impact on someone who's listening in, change their perception or the perspective on something that they're struggling with, and they go, oh, fuck, maybe if I try it this way, it might help me. Or they reach out to you and go, fuck, now I actually feel like I'm not the only one going through that certain experience. That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think the podcast is one of the best things I've ever done. And, all you're doing on here is speaking the truth and trying to help people. And that's all I'm doing. So at the end of the day, if someone has a dig at you for an episode, they're a loser.
And it's funny because I feel like some people might be digging out of pure jealousy because maybe they were trying to achieve something, but they never took that next step to implement it.
Yeah, 100%. And man, most haters are jealous people. They just want to be in your position or do what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly, dude. One more thing I'd love to ask before we wrap this episode up. Maybe if you've got a challenge that you could give out to the listeners about being happy with themselves, both externally in terms of looks and appearance, and internally with their mental state as a whole.
So pretty much you're asking how to be happy with yourself.
Yeah, because like there's two different types. Is that the happiness of like just being happy with your appearance and looks, and then your mental state, like trying to just to be happy with yourself and be confident in your abilities to succeed.
As we said, like you got to also not care about what other people think. You got to not care about like judgment or what if or what's that person thinking. And I think that revolves around being happy with yourself, is not like having any insecurities or anything. And just like, yeah, I don't know, like, because a lot of my non-happiness and doubt was because like, oh, I'm not as good as people think I am, or I don't look as good as people think I am. And it's like you're always trying to chase that image or whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. Like, as long as I'm a good person inside and I'm helping people, this is just from my example. It doesn't matter how lean I am or how big I am or how good I look. I'm actually helping people now, and that makes me happy, if that makes sense.
Yep. No, I agree. No, well said. Well said, brother.
It took me so long to be happy with myself, man. Like, for people listening, it's, yeah, you just got to maybe try a few of those things. And I would mainly try the fact that, yeah, you got to really not care what other people think. As long as you're a good person, that's literally all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't buy into that stuff because we look at other people and we think, oh, they're looking at us because we don't have this, we don't have that, our arms not big enough. But in fact, we're actually just in battle with our own thoughts and emotions. And I think if we can be at one with our own thoughts and emotions and be happy with that stuff, with happy with all that sort of stuff, life becomes a whole lot easier.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something, man, like, I don't care if you're the the best looking person in the world, whatever it may be, someone's still going to judge you. So
exactly,
you could get to this, what you call a so-called end goal, and people are still going to hate on you. So what's the fucking point?
Yeah, even the Love Island guys and girls that get the Colgate brands, Colgate sponsors, they'll still get hate.
Right. Everyone gets hate. Like the biggest celebrities in the world, they get hate. Like, do you think they take that on board? No, you just gotta like move on and like just focus on the good.
Well, you got to just like I like to call it white noise. It's in the background, but that's all it is. You just brush it aside, and what goes in one ear goes out the other ear.
That's so true. Like, yeah, it's actually so true. Like, you can hear it, but you don't let it affect you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Obviously, you're gonna see these comments, or you might hear it, or someone might say it to your face, but you just don't let it affect you.
Exactly, dude. Absolutely. Look, man, I really appreciate you taking your time. I know you're a busy man with your work and everything else that's revolving around your life right now. It's been an honor to have you on the show, brother.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on, man. And yeah, it'd be cool to hopefully see what the listeners think of this. Yeah, obviously we'll just keep staying in touch. It's so cool to collaborate and do stuff like this with people that don't live near you and, actually connect. Yeah, if you ever need anything, just reach out. But it's good to see you doing, what you're doing. I'm all for this.
And for people who might want to reach out to you on your social media accounts, how are they able to do that?
Yeah, just at I am Jaxton Tippet. That's my IG handle, and everything's on there in my bio, my podcast, my coaching, all of that. And if you just send me a DM, I'll definitely get back to you 100%.
Well, thanks, guys. This has been season 3, episode 7 of Couch the Mind, clearing the mind one couch talk at a time. And again, we've had Jaxton Tippet on the show today, and we went over the topic of external and internal strength. Again, it's been an honor to have you on the show, brother. You've had an incredible journey for what you've been able to achieve. And I know for a fact that so many people will get so much out of what you had to say today.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate having me on. And thanks, everyone, for listening.
If you guys enjoyed this episode and you're after more Couch in the Mind content, Feel free to check us out on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, and many other audio platforms. And as always, guys, if you need anything, feel free to message me on the Couch in the Mind Facebook page. Thanks again for tuning in.